there he is. Yep. Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday, looking for the date, October 7th. We are going to start our meeting. Thanks for being here. And we will start with roll call.
Supervisor Arroyo.
Here.
Supervisor Wilson.
Present.
Supervisor Bohn.
Morning.
Chair Bushnell.
Good morning again. And Supervisor Madrone is coming around the bend there.
He's got a great name.
Yeah, you can do roll call on him when he gets here, okay?
Okay, thank you.
We're going to salute our flag, please. Before we go on to modifications of the agenda, I would like to wish our CAO a very happy birthday today, as she gets to sit on the dais and watch us.
Thank you. 105. It's you all that make me feel that way, too.
So we're going to modify our roll call.
Okay. Supervisor Madrone. Present. All are here.
Thank you. And then we're going to go to modifications of our agenda to CAO Hayes.
Thank you, Chair Bushnell. Item D8 and D9 will be pulled from the calendar pulled from consent for discussion this morning. Item D13 will be pulled from the calendar altogether as the governor vetoed this bill yesterday. Item J1 is going to be heard right after items pulled from consent. And just for situational awareness of the audience, we may push public comment on non-agenda items to the end of the agenda if necessary for time management, as we have a board member leaving early today.
Okay. So we'll go right into our consent calendar. Are there any comments from the board on the consent calendar? Supervisor Arroyo.
Thank you. We do have a recognition certificate for Tri-County Independent Living. I just wanted to appreciate that they had a really wonderful senior and disability expo at the Sequoia Conference Center. Really incredible showing of different organizations, including several county programs that provide support to seniors and people living with disabilities. And if folks want to look into more about what was shared there, they can contact Tri-County Independent Living.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. We will go to proclamations. We're going to go in order. That's the Grange ones first. You want to do yours first? Go ahead. Okay. We're going to do the proclamation recognizing the 150th annual California State Grange Convention, and I believe someone's here. I saw them come in. There you are.
There
Come
she
forward,
is.
please. Good morning. Okay. Whereas the Grange, officially known as the National Grange of Order of Patrons of Husbandry, was founded in 1867 and has a long and proud tradition of strengthening rural communities, supporting agriculture, and advocating for education, civic engagement, and economic opportunity. And whereas the California State Grange has for 150 years brought together members from across the state to advance the well-being of farmers, families, and rural communities while preserving the values of cooperation, stewardship, and community service. And whereas the 150th annual California State Grange Convention is a historic milestone celebrating a century and a half of contributions to California's agricultural heritage, civic life, and community development. And whereas Humboldt County is honored to host the landmark gathering at the Van Dusen Grange, number 517, welcoming delegates, members, and visitors from across the state to share in the celebration of this important anniversary. And whereas the convention provides an opportunity to highlight Humboldt County's own agricultural traditions, natural beauty, and community spirit while showcasing our role in sustaining California's farming and rural lands. Now, therefore, let it be proclaimed that the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors hereby recognizes and honors the 150th Annual California State Grange Convention, occurring October 8th through the 12th, 2025, at the Van Dusen Grange.
Thank you, Supervisor Bushnell.
I'm going to give this to you, and then you can speak.
Okay, great.
And we're going to take a photo.
Okay, good. They're gonna vote. Come this way.
Natalie's going to take our photo, so if we can all get in the photo right there. Stand over there. Why don't you pick up right here? There you go. There we go. Right. Say great.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere.
No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just walking out.
Thank you, Supervisor Bushnell. It's such a pleasure to be here in front of such a distinguished group. I have, speaking of distinguished, 3 distinguished presidents with me today. I have Tamara Myers of Freshwater, I have Maurice Viand of Humboldt Grange, and I have Joseph Stefanoni, the president of the California State Grange. And I would like to turn this mic over to them if they have something they would like to say.
Sure.
Especially this guy.
Chair Bushnell, Supervisors, thank you so much for the proclamation. In our 150-year history, this is only the 3rd time we've convened in Humboldt County, but we are so excited that the 8 active granges here in the county have invited us to view the Redwood Coast and to invite our members from across the western U.S., especially here in California, to experience everything Humboldt County has to offer. For 150 years, we've provided service and advocacy for rural California, improving the conditions of rural life and improving conditions for the general everyday citizen of communities across our state. And we look forward to continuing that mission. And thank you for having us here in your county this week.
Thank you.
I have one more thing, too. There are 2 things part of the program for a convention that are open to the public. And I hope you've received your invitation for Wednesday night. It's an open house where we will have lots of distinguished folks and regular folks open to the community. We will also have the president of the National Grange there, and I hope you come and meet Christine. We will have the pleasure of dancing to the Eureka Brass Band. And then on Friday night, we're also open to the public where we'll be swinging to the Compost Mountain Boys. And you're all invited, and everybody out there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the board? Supervisor Bohn.
They have great breakfast, and they do a lot. And just because I was formerly a Grange member, sorry. But if you look back on that 150 years, I mean, it was for the farmer, it was for seed exchange, it was for insurance. They helped the breadbasket become our breadbasket throughout the nation, and the Granges were who everybody turned to in the day, and still turn to it to a certain extent. So I appreciate this. I know we have 8, and I've got 3. Well, I've got 2 of them and 3 former. 1 former, so, but I mean, they still provide a service. And the biggest thing they provided was a place in the extreme rural areas for people to gather. That was, I mean, the Matole Grange, that's wherever, when they vote there, they do everything there. I mean, that's a prime example, and then the other ones throughout the county. So thank you. This is kind of a lot of fun on this one. So thanks for coming after 150 years. So.
Supervisor Wilson.
Good morning, Kathy.
Hi, Mike.
It's good to see you. I just want to shout out to the Bayside Grange because that's the one I frequent the most. And I've had a few changes, but I want to say I was there a few weeks ago, and the crew is up and running and really doing a lot of really cool stuff there, and just ready to bring it in. And just like all the other Granges, they're always looking for events and folks to come in and understand that it is a resource for the entire community. And it's true, the breakfasts are great. I actually think it's kind of fun to compare and contrast. I always wanted to do a nice little tale. I have, and I tell you that they're all different, and they're all great in their own way. But more importantly, to reiterate what Supervisor Bohn was saying, that the resource there in so many ways, both from the farmer's perspective, but really from the community perspective, is very, very important. And I'm just so amazed, actually, that this network of community centers and focus in these communities is still going hard charging today. So thanks, you guys. Really appreciate it.
So I grew up a rancher's granddaughter, and my grandparents were part of the Grange, like most ranching families in at the Garberville Grange, and they did a lot of events there. I used to roller skate there. The Grange in Garberville is no longer, but the Van Dusen Grange has had, the Granges in Humboldt County went through a transition, and Kathy, you guys have really been just so awesome and helping people restart those Granges up, Red Crest and Supervisor Bohn's district, and the Van Dusen and mine. Ryan, the president, and the board down there, they have given that thing a facelift. They do community dinners. They do, almost every week there's an activity there, bingo, the breakfast, and so they painted it, and it's really beautiful.
Looks great.
It looks great, and the community is just really so excited about the opportunity for all the events that are going on there. I used to be so excited to go to our Grange in Garberville with my grandparents. We did potlucks, all the things. And so I thank you all for being here, and I'm really excited to see you all tomorrow night. And I think it'll be a great event, and thanks for coming today.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go on to the next proclamation that is brought to us by Supervisor Bohn, and I'll let him introduce that.
Oh. Yeah, I'd like to invite John, Teresa, and my little buddy, no, not you guys. Other John Ballard. This is in recognition of some of the things that Chase has gone through, and his parents are pretty proud of him, and he's a fully developed athlete and everything now with taking precautions, but nice family. So Humboldt County Board of Proclamation in recognition of craniofacial craniosis nostosis. Close? Acceptance Month. Whereas the Children's Craniofacial Association, CCA, began celebrating Craniofacial Acceptance Month in 2005 to bring awareness to the thousands of children in the United States each year who are either born with or develop a craniofacial difference, which is a physical anomaly of the skull and or face. Whereas there are various types of craniofacial anomalies with different causes and medical implications, while the most well-known syndrome is cleft lip, children are born with other facial differences, including Apert syndrome, Treacher-Collins syndrome, facial palsy, and craniosynostosis, which is seen about in 1 of every 2,500 babies. Whereas individuals with craniofacial differences in their families often struggle to understand what they are facing and how to move forward in the early stages of life, and may experience emotional and financial strain due to the demands of ongoing and expensive medical treatment. Whereas due to the complexity of craniofacial anomalies, affected individuals will often endure multiple surgeries before they reach adulthood. Whereas there is a lack of education and information shared with the general public about individuals with facial differences. Whereas organizations such as Children's Craniofacial Association, nonprofit organization, a 501c3, serve individuals affected by craniofacial differences and the professionals who care for them in order to empower and give hope to them and their families, while working towards the vision of a world where all people are accepted for who they are, not how they look. Whereas Children's Craniofacial Association has designated December 2025, it was supposed to be 2 weeks ago, sorry, as the 21st year of Craniofacial Acceptance Month. Now for the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors do hereby proclaim September 2025 as Craniofacial Acceptance Month in Humboldt County, California.
Rex, you want a picture?
Sure. Just with Chase, though. Maybe just Chase with your trees. Thank you.
Nice smile. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
He's the team captain on every sport team, so usually he's the guy that gets to speak, so.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys for having us here today. Thank you, Rex, very much for recognizing this as well. Just a little behind it, back in 2016, he was diagnosed with craniosynostosis. 2017, he had a surgery. He was born in 2015. So he had a cranial bolt restoration from ear to ear, and it was a 9-hour surgery that we had to face. Once those doors opened, we didn't know if we were going to find out if our son was alive or if he was okay. We wasn't. We lived through this for the last 10 years. Like I said, every appointment that we've had, we've asked, the final question was, can he play football? It wasn't because I wanted him to play football, it's because I knew the impact of his skull, what he can take. Last year, 2024, we were told by the UCSF that, you know what, he was clear to play football. Well, he'll never play football because he doesn't choose football. However, he does play every other sport and he dominates like crazy. But this is a true blessing, no matter what it is called. 1 of 2,500 is a rare disease. However, we are blessed very much. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. And I run across Chase quite a bit because it seems like every championship game, it's my oldest grandson against Chase, and they're going head to head.
So he did get to play flag football in his first year as quarterback. He led the team to 14-0 and threw 20 touchdowns.
Awesome.
He set the family scoring record of 40 points in a game. He's four years undefeated. He just won back-to-back championships in Santa Rosa in soccer. He's our top goalie and top captain. He threw 4 no-hitters in baseball this year. The doctor told us we didn't know if he'd ever play a sport. The first day he got on the court, it was changed our lives. So he wears a scar from ear to ear every day. But he says, that's one cool haircut. He goes, no, I was touched by God.
Aww.
And so he lets everybody know. So he leads with patience and love. So we're super proud of him. Thank you guys today.
Thank
You
you.
bet. Thank you. Chase, back to school.
So I'm going to back up just a little bit, and I'm going to have Ryan come up. Ryan is the president of the Van Dusen Grange, and I'm just going to let her. It was a little tad bit late. That's okay. I'm just going to have her do a little rundown of the 150th activities that are going on out at the Van Dusen Grange. It's actually a really big deal, and has only happened three times in Humboldt County. So, welcome, Ryan.
I'm so sorry I'm late, and maybe I did it on purpose thinking I could sneak in. I wouldn't have to come up here.
It's the Van Dusen clock.
Yeah. Well, we've got that new stoplight out on 36. Thank you for having us. I'm sure Joseph and Kathy and Maurice and Tamara spoke to it really well before, but we are hosting the 150th California State Grange Convention at the Van Dusen River Grange this year. Starting Wednesday night is an open house, so all are welcome. Thursday starts our official meetings and convention, and what's special about it for us is we're highlighting a lot of what makes Humboldt unique and special to us. As a right around 150 people are registered to come to convention. Joseph, is that right? So we're highlighting how CR shows our agriculture growth in the junior college. We're doing a cannabis tour with Humboldt Exotics and Lotta Farms. We are doing, Humboldt Distillery is going to do a tour. We are also going to go, I'm missing some, HRC is going to do a mill and forest walk. So we're highlighting a lot of our agriculture and what makes our area special to us that maybe people don't really realize. So that'll be the fun of the week. Friday night we're doing a square dance with the Compost Mountain Boys. So we'll have a lot of fun out there. So if you have time and you want to stop out, we'd love to have you. And thanks for having us today.
Thank you. Thanks for highlighting all the special things about Humboldt while you're doing your 150th anniversary. A lot of people come to Humboldt and don't realize all of the things that we have to offer, and so I think it's really great, especially with having 150 attendees, that you can highlight those things.
Yeah.
We appreciate the Van Dusen Grange.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go on to our next proclamation that is brought to us by Supervisor Arroyo, and I'm going to let her introduce that.
Wonderful. So this is the Changing Tides Proclamation. Please come on up if you're here to receive it. This is a proclamation in recognition of the 50th anniversary of Changing Tides Family Services. Whereas Changing Tides Family Services was established in 1975 as a community-based organization for the purpose of addressing unmet child care and child abuse prevention needs. And whereas over the past 50 years, as a whole family resource and support organization, Changing Tides Family Services has provided continuous and high-quality services to achieve its mission of increasing the health and success of children, youth, families, and individuals. And whereas Changing Tides Family Services enhances the local economy by assisting parents to pay for child care services so that the parent can join or remain in the workforce. And whereas Changing Tides Family Services provides high-quality behavioral and mental health services to children and preventative early childhood mental health consultation support to caregivers throughout Humboldt County. And whereas Changing Tides Family Services strengthens and supports the well-being and resiliency of families and individuals with disabilities. And whereas Changing Tides Family Services enhances the skills of the early education workforce. And whereas in fiscal year 24-25, Changing Tides Family Services provided over 3,800 hours of behavioral and mental health services, almost 46,000 hours of in-home respite and skills acquisition services, 3,629 hours of parent education and support, over 1,000 hours of family court-ordered supervised visitation, over 200 hours of early childhood mental health consultation for positive outcomes. In addition, Changing Tides Family Services provided over $360,000 in reimbursements for food services for 822 children, over 8,000 child care referrals, and child care subsidy support to more than 1,000 families, serving over 2,000 children, and totaling over $11 million in payments to providers to support families with the cost of childcare, and more than $2 million in additional stipends to childcare providers. Amazing. I added the amazing. Whereas Changing Tides Family Services over the past 50 years has participated with the County of Humboldt to provide a wide range of services, some of which include childcare refund and subsidy management, family preservation services, assistance to pregnant and parenting teens, mental health services, and CalFresh outreach and enrollment. And whereas Changing Tides Family Services in the last 3 years alone has imported over $48 million of non-county funds to support the health, education, care, and development of children. Now therefore be it resolved that the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors recognize and commend Changing Tides Family Services on the occasion of their 50th anniversary serving youth and families in Humboldt County.
We're a little shy.
Yeah. I know, I kind of thought it might take a little while for everybody to come up, so I just started reading. Thank you. We might have to make 2 rows. Okay.
Or you might have to scoot you. We're not used to being in front of people, we're usually behind the scenes.
Just stagger so that you can see.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who wants the actual thing? Yeah, thank you. And thank you. Give you a hug.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just wanted to say thank you, and although we do not have as many years in as the Grange, we are big fans of the Grange, and we're hoping to get to 150. But we're like the Grange, we are everywhere in Humboldt County. We serve every part of our county. And Natalie, thank you for reading that. It was a whole lot of information because there's so much that we do. We have 18 unique programs, and in addition, we do a lot of partnering with just about every organization across this county. we're really excited about our 50th anniversary. It's a big milestone, have your golden. We also have a big gala on Friday, not too late to get your tickets. Board of Supervisors and others on our website. But also we're looking forward to the future. And I want to recognize that we have a lot of our team here who normally are behind the scenes doing the work every day with parents and families and don't always get the recognition that they deserve. We also have 3 of our board members here, including our board president, Brooke Epperly. And we're so excited to have them support us as well because we couldn't do the work without our board that we do. And some of you may remember that for over 40 years, Carol Hill actually helped build this organization. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to come today because I think we stand on the shoulders of so much hard work that happens. So thank you for the recognition. We are looking forward to 50 more, and we hope to find ourselves in front of you at that point in time, recognizing a 100-year anniversary. But even the next decade, we're happy to come back for a proclamation for the 60. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Supervisor Bohn?
Yeah, we appreciate everything. You can leave, I don't care. No, we appreciate everything that you do and have you've expanded your offices. And I have to say, and I think I've told you this a dozen times, your offices, I used to walk up there as a 10-year-old every Saturday and rent a lawnmower for $1 from the lawnmower shop that was there, and he had a big awning out there, and I'd go home, mow my lawn, and bring it back. It was $1. So my dad didn't want a stinky lawnmower in the garage. But you guys have made that evolve into a situation that is so helpful in so many ways. So it is far appreciated. And you're kind of on the peripheral. You don't have a lot of people don't say, hey, you don't see banners, you don't see bumper stickers, but it's all appreciated, especially by families. So thank you.
So oftentimes I hear folks say how hard it is for daycare, how expensive it is, and I couldn't have this job without Changing Tides. And Changing Tides has made such a difference with young families being able to have childcare, be able to afford childcare, and to be able to better themselves. And I hear it over and over and over in my district and outside of my district. So I'm so appreciative of the work that Changing Tides does. Carrie, you do so much more than just Changing Tides, and thank you. You're involved in it seems like everywhere I end up, you're there as well. And that's so important to Humboldt County. So thank you for all the work from all of you and to really making a difference with families and with young folks. It's so much appreciative. And Supervisor Wilson.
Huge thank you. I want to say that someday I hope we live in a society that actually funds this at the fundamental level, at the and these there are so many places on this planet that we don't have to go to this length to have all these volunteers because it's part of how we run society, how they run societies. And I'm just so grateful to you guys for doing this because childcare is just one of those things that we need to catch up. And thank you so much for filling in while we hopefully evolve to that place. I just really want to thank you so much.
Okay, thanks again. And we're gonna, one last opportunity from the board on any comments on the consent calendar before we go to public comment. Supervisor Madrone.
Who are you? Thank you, Chair. I wanted to recognize Ms. Pitts and Ms. Magana for stepping up to become members of the Human Rights Commission. I think they're going to be a great addition to that. And if they're here, I guess this would be the time that they could come up and make a comment. But I also wanted to recognize Vernon Price, who has served on the Behavioral Health Board for years and is being reappointed. And Vernon really comes to our Behavioral Health Board with tremendous experience and knowledge and has made our board so much better. So Vernon, I want to thank you for once again stepping up in the great service you provide for our community. Thank you so much.
I'll echo my colleague with Vernon and thank you for the emails that you send and all the information you provide to this board. It's so much appreciated. I also would like to thank Matthew ZSAC, hopefully I didn't do that too bad, to the Humboldt County Workforce Board Development. That's a large board and a big commitment, and we appreciate that. So at this time, we'll go to public comment, and we will start on the Zoom.
There is none, Chair.
Okay, and then we'll go to public comment in the room on any items on the consent calendar. And I see Vernon coming forward. Morning, Vernon.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. My name is, I'll be speaking on item number 14. I would like to say thank you for another appointment. The last 3 years has really been challenging for those consumers. It's now time to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So we're starting a new page on the Behavioral Health Board with consumers and getting consumer involvement. So thank you again for your reappointment.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment on the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, bring it back to the board for a motion, please.
I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
And do I need to say minus the items?
Yes.
That was D8 and D9 and D13. I think that's it. Thank you.
Mike? You're done.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll go to items pulled from consent, and we'll go to our first item, which is brought to, well, Karen had me do this, but I'm going to be presenting Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So if you're here for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I see pink out there, please come forward. And I believe our sheriff is going to also say something. Whereas breast cancer is an epidemic that will strike 1 of 8 American women in their lifetime, and whereas breast cancer is the most common form of cancer among women, and while the risk increases with age, even younger women can be affected, and whereas it is estimated that 316,950 women and 2,800 men will be diagnosed with breast cancer in the United States in 2025, and which affects not only the patient but their family, employer, and friends as well. Whereas although breast cancer remains the second leading cause of cancer death among American women, mortality rates are declining due to better treatment options and early detections through breast awareness, routine clinical breast exams, and mammogram. And whereas on the state and county level, breast cancer has been identified as a priority for women's health concerns, and whereas the Independent Physicians Association, Mad River Community Hospital, Providence Hospital, Redwood Memorial Hospital, Providence Outpatient Imaging Center, Breast and GYN Health Project, American Cancer Society, and the cancer programs at St. Joseph believe it is in the best interest of all women, men, and families in Humboldt County to join together to promote greater awareness about breast cancer, early detection, prevention, and treatment. Now, therefore, the Board of Supervisors of the Humboldt County hereby proclaims October 2025 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month and urges all community members to discuss prevention and early detection measures with their healthcare provider. These discussions may save lives. So now we're going to flip you all around so we can get a picture, and we're going to have Billy in here too. Oh, Bobby, look at you. I wore my patch. Yeah. I was joking that you weren't wearing any pink, but you are. You don't have to go like that.
There's a lot of y'all. Come on, Sheriff. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. We're going to probably have to go on the front steps for those who can make it up there. Okay. Thank you. I know. I've got my pink. Go first? Yes. Okay.
No, just go ahead. Listen. Please, please.
thank you Supervisor Bushnell and the whole Board of Supervisors for recognizing the importance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm Rose Gale-Zolik, the Executive Director of the Breast and GYN Health Project. Our local grassroots nonprofit organization is about to celebrate our 30th anniversary next year, and all of our services remain free of charge. We're just a phone call away in Arcata, and drop-ins are welcome. Because so many people are diagnosed with breast cancer, it's really important to take a few minutes to honor and remember those local people whose lives are touched personally, as well as our friends, neighbors, co-workers, and family. I'm one of the few people at the Breast and GYN Health Project who is not a cancer survivor. It is an honor to serve our community with all kinds of support services. Because each person's cancer journey is unique, I'm going to briefly share a story that one of our clients shared with our grant funder, the National Breast Cancer Foundation, about her experience with her cancer patient navigator at the Breast and GYN Health Project. So she said, "Breast cancer knocked down my front door and changed my life. I wish I had known it was going to be intense, a long road, and not a short sprint. There isn't a quick fix. Cancer treatment, especially in her case, is a long-term care that takes time and multiple approaches to save your life. I don't know what I would have done without the assistance of my Breast and GYN Health Project navigator. Special consideration goes out to her. She is the light that guided me through." Cancer patient navigators like the ones at the Breast Health Project help people by listening and taking the time to acknowledge people's feelings. The navigators help people overcome barriers to care, such as cost, fear, misinformation, complicated appointment scheduling, and education about what those terms mean when one gets a cancer diagnosis. Our client also shared that her navigator is, and she says, "She's my counselor, my friend, a wealth of resources and knowledge, and she's helped me immensely. She stood by me through chemo, surgery, and radiation. With the help of my support system, she, my family's friends, coworkers, and amazing oncology staff, I know I can survive and thrive my cancer journey." Sometimes it's hard to describe just how the Breast and GYN Health Project helps, but I think this paints a nice picture. So thank you all for acknowledging Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this month, October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, is phenomenal. We have like 70 businesses participating in Sales for Survivors. There's a Zumbathon coming up. Sheriff Hansel will be talking about the pink patch. Every single month, the California Cancer Crushers support the Breast and GYN Health Project, as well as C's Community Fund. There's so many supporters, so I just want to say thank you to you all. Okay, I'll turn it over.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Bushnell and members of the board for your support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As your proclamation reminds us, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. That's a powerful reminder of how many families in our own community that are touched by this disease. My name is Karen Clower, and today I'm speaking on behalf of the California Cancer Crusher. The California Cancer Crusher's mission is to make a difference in the lives of children and families affected by cancer in our community. We do this through partnerships with organizations like the Breast and GYN Health Project and through our local assistance program. Our local assistance program was designed to ease the financial burdens that cancer places on our local families. In just the first 9 months of this year, we've been honored to assist 25 local women battling cancer and their families. There are many ways you can help support and raise awareness this month by joining the Pink Ribbon campaigns across the county. Rose from the Breast Health Project mentioned some through their campaigns. We also have Fortuna Police Department's Pink Patch campaign, Humboldt Bay Fire's Breast Cancer Awareness T-shirt campaign. We have the Crushing Cancer One Can at a Time. Through our partnership with Recology, Fortuna residents can make a donation to the California Cancer Crusher and receive a pink trash bin to show their support. You can come out to the Cal Poly Strike Out Cancer softball game this Saturday. You can help us turn the Bay Trail pink by participating in our Crushing Cancer One Step at a Time 5K run and walk on Sunday, October 19th. And I just want to say thank you again for this proclamation and for helping raise awareness about the importance of early detection. Thank you.
Did everyone see Karen's nails too? Wow. Rose, Karen, thank you for that. The Humboldt County Sheriff's Office is one of the things that we do in October is honor breast cancer awareness, and we do the Pink Patch Project. Rex purchased a pink patch, thank you. Michelle, this is yours that you purchased. CAO, thank you for your purchase. Now the other board members, if you want to purchase a patch, let me know. I'll drop one off today. It is just something simple that we can do to honor such a great organization and bring and raise awareness. Personally, I've seen friends and family members go through breast cancer treatment. I had a close family member pass away from breast cancer. It's a difficult month and for a lot of people, but it's also there's hope in this, and we can raise awareness and understanding of early prevention. And treatment can really save lives. And so we're doing our part. We ask the community to back one of these great events, organization, or just make a donation. The Breast Health Project is such an awesome organization, and they help so many people. And so even a little donation can go a long way. So Michelle, thank you, and I'll give you your patch. So thank you very much.
Okay, any comments from the board? Supervisor Bohn.
And I don't know, I'd like to remind everybody, March 6th is Wings for a Cure, and that's your best way you can donate and actually show up to an event with 425 of your closest friends and spend a whole bunch of money and help the Cancer Crushers with their mission. And I think this will be the 12th year? 12th year. So started out kind of small, and we've kind of blown the door. They've kind of blown the doors off it. So I think, and it's a Cancer Crushers is a fully volunteer organization, and they put a lot of time and effort into it. And I admire all of them, and they're kind of fun to hang around with when you put that thing together. So anyway, March 6th, put it on your calendars. You'd like it.
Supervisor Arroyo.
Thank you so much for all your work in raising awareness and funds. Obviously, a lot of this research and work and advocacy takes money, and I really appreciate that your organizations are each in your own way helping. And I also really appreciate with our local breast and GYN health project that there's a focus on the GYN health aspect. I think breast cancer, it gets a little bit more attention. I'm 41, and I can't tell you how many of my peers have, and people my age have been diagnosed with very rare cancers, including GYN cancers, and it's really startling and eye-opening and so important. And unfortunately, historically, I think it has benefited from less research and focus. So thank you for shining a light on that, and thank you to those who do not get GYN cancers for stepping up and caring about that issue as well, and making it something that we can talk about in every place where healthcare decisions are talked about and made. So thank you very much.
I don't think there's anything scarier than having a family member or yourself have a cancer scare, or even to hear the words that you have cancer. I think because 1 in 8 women get breast cancer, and then the other kinds of cancer, we all know someone, we all have family members. The Cancer Crushers, I want to thank them. So many times I have been able to refer them to family and friends that they have helped with gas cards. Financially, it's draining. You will do anything to save your loved one, save your friend, but it takes time away from your work. It takes time away from being able to live your life in that quality. You're all just focused on survival. Also, it's expensive. Even if you have the best insurance, the ways that the Humboldt raised funds for helping folks with cancer and breast cancer is just amazing. I know people that have, they've just drained their savings and they just have nothing left, and they don't even have the funds to drive to the city to help fight that disease. And so it's so important, and thank you. Also, early detection is so important. I think it's almost 50% that with early detection that you can get a cure for breast cancer. And so do those self-exams. Go, if you feel in yourself that you have an issue, you feel something, make your doctor do a mammogram and just be diligent about it. You're your best advocate, and your family are your best advocate, and it's so important. So we're going to go out to public comment, and we'll start on the Zoom.
There is none, Chair.
And we'll do public comment in the room on this item. Okay, seeing none, we're going to bring it back to the board for a motion to accept this proclamation.
I'll move to accept this proclamation and just briefly state that I have both family and friends that have experienced this. Some survive and some haven't. And so it touches every family and every I don't know anyone who hasn't been touched by this. I want to thank the work that you guys do and encourage folks to buy the raffle tickets as well that you guys do every year. Thank you so much. And I just to speak to, again, another group of people doing wonderful work. There is no reason why people should be going bankrupt to get these services in a civilized society. We really have to work on this, and I thank you so much for doing that. Thanks.
I'll second that motion. Thanks again for you all being here. And love all the pink. And Karen's nails.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we're going to go on to our next item pulled from consent, which is a proclamation for October 2025 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I believe there is someone here. So I'm going to read this. So if I'm not misunderstanding, domestic violence is purple, is that correct? Yes. So we're pink and purple today for these two proclamations. National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, whereas October is annually recognized as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and progress continues to be made towards violence prevention. And whereas domestic and intimate partner violence remains a serious issue affecting all people regardless of age, ethnicity, sex, gender, social economic status, literacy, sexuality, ability, religion, culture, and immigration status. And whereas domestic and intimate partner violence survivors are deprived of dignity, security, and autonomy with the seismic use of control and power through physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic abuse. And whereas children exposed to domestic violence can experience long-term consequences, including difficulty at school, substance abuse, behavioral problems in adolescence, and serious health problems into adulthood. And whereas Humboldt Domestic Violence Service, HDVS, has been serving Humboldt County since 1977 to continuously support all those living or escaping abuse. And whereas all survivors deserve access to culturally responsive prevention programs and services to increase their safety and self-sufficiency, HDVS enlists a diverse array of allies, agencies, and community members in supporting survivors of domestic and intimate partner violence. And whereas only together can we change the health and safety of our community by challenging the societal norms that perpetrate violence. Now therefore, let it be proclaimed that the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors recognizes the month of October 25 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
I'm gonna let you all stand over here. I'll take one from this direction.
So that presentation will be pulled up.
There's a clicker on the table so you guys can move through your slides.
Thank you, members of the board, for recognizing this important issue. It's an issue that's not going to be going away anytime soon, so the best we can do is keep talking about it to reduce any stigma behind it and allow survivors to feel empowered to know that there is help out there. As was mentioned, Humboldt Domestic Violence Services has been serving Humboldt County since 1977. Our mission is to break the cycle of domestic violence and intimate partner violence and sex trafficking through services, education, and advocacy. A little bit of what we've done in the last year. This is just a brief overview of what we've done. We have received about 375 survivors or 400 survivors who have called our line anonymously. Again, with the stigma behind it, we recognize that some people might not be ready to share their name, or we've even had people that think that we're connected to law enforcement and we're going to share that information, making their situation worse. We don't want to force anybody to share any information that they don't want to share, so we go at people's pace. When they are ready, they can share their name if that's what they feel like they want to do. Overall, we've received a little over 3,800 calls in our 24/7 support line. This is, again, anonymous or current clients who are going through things. We have provided over 1,700 individual counseling services. We can go a little bit over what that looks like in the next slide. And we have had 67 survivors participating in support group, which is them getting together with other survivors so they can have a little bit of a community of other survivors and supporting each other. And we have assisted about 150 temporary restraining orders to help people get out of their dangerous situation. Again, having the law behind their side to offer some kind of protection. A little overview of our services in general. Again, peer counseling. This is where survivors can meet with a trained domestic violence advocate to discuss what they're going through, if this is to process what they're going through, to recognize that there is a cycle of violence, if they need to get a little bit of education on what that looks like, learn relationship dynamics, learn boundary setting and anything like that. Also, if their situation requires them to leave the situation, we can help them with safety planning and then putting that plan into motion. Again, the healing support group, we offer 2 in person and 1 on Zoom that meets 3 times a week for survivors to be able to discuss with other survivors, help each other out. Restraining order assistance, we do those all the time. The court is a scary process to begin with, so just having somebody who understands the process and to help them feel empowered to go through it. We do have a shelter. It is very small because we are a small agency. Funding is limited, so it is limited to specifically intimate partner violence survivors that are actively trying to leave their situation. And along with shelter, we do offer a little bit of emergency food and clothing. We recognize that sometimes people have to leave on the spot and cannot have anything but the clothes on their back. So if we can offer just a little bit of that, we're happy to do so. We offer accompaniment to various different places as far as like restraining orders. There is court involved again, so we can offer accompaniment to that. We can't speak for survivors as we're not lawyers, but we can offer emotional support and empower our survivors to know that they can do it on their own and just have somebody there with them. We also offer accompaniment to like social services, other social service offices. We can't do it all, so sometimes we have to collaborate with other local agencies. And if it helps for one of us to be there with them, we are happy to also do that as well.
So as it was stated in the proclamation, all survivors of domestic violence are eligible for our services, regardless of sex, gender, age, no, you're fine. Sex, gender, age, ability, class, immigration status, sexual orientation. We are a small agency, as just stated. We can't do it all. We have about 10 staff members, and due to limited funding, sheltering services are only available for individuals who have experienced intimate partner violence. However, we service any domestic violence survivor. And then HDVS is available 24/7 via our hotline. However, we only have 7 domestic violence advocates responding to that 24/7 hotline. So if you ever call us and you can't get through, we encourage you to call again. 7 is a low number to be running a 24/7 service, so please just continue to call us. We're likely servicing another survivor or at an appointment or in court. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here and presenting today. I'm going to bring it back to the board for any comments. Supervisor Arroyo.
Thank you. Are you actively seeking additional folks to support your hotline? As I know it's probably a process with a lot of training.
Yeah, well, lately we've been having some funding issues with everything that's going on, so we are at capacity of what we can do, but we are a small but mighty team.
Okay.
We are pretty solid.
Yeah, thank you for everything you do. It's so important.
I also want to thank you. I also want to thank partner agencies, the district attorney, the victim advocacy program that they have, the violent, they do counseling through some of their processes, and the sheriff's department, all of the sheriff's departments that help assist. It is a scary thing to have to deal with domestic violence, and if you have children, and where to go and how to seek out help. And oftentimes, as you said, you leave with nothing on your back except for what you have, and then you have to hide. And so it's a scary time for people. I think my message would be that you can beat it, and once you get a little bit of a distance from it, it does get better, and to allow people to help you and really reach out and don't hide it, which is so common because people are embarrassed. So with that, I'm going to go out to public comment, and we'll go to Zoom first.
There is none, Chair.
Okay, and we'll go to public comment in the room. And seeing none, I will bring it back to the board for a motion, please.
I'll move approval.
Second. And we're going to have to do roll call because we had a member step away.
Supervisor Bohn?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilson?
Yes.
Chair Bushnell?
Yes.
Supervisor Arroyo?
Yes.
Supervisor Madrone absent.
And thank you again for coming and presenting this morning. Thank you. Okay. So as said earlier, we're going to be skipping around to J1, and that's brought to us by Supervisor Bohn, and I'm going to let him introduce.
Well, I'd like to invite John Ballard and Dan Phillips, both recipients of distinguished Citizen Awards from Humboldt, or alumni of Humboldt. What they're doing is pretty exciting. They've done it. I love Dan's story. Young kid from Bridgeville who put his way through school working at Eel River Sawmill. And John, your history of all your technological and things you've done. And they've decided to come back and help out Humboldt, and not on a small scale at all. And this is pretty exciting. And I see you brought John McGuire for help, so that's exciting too. So it must be serious. But anyway, Dan, John, go ahead, please. Thank you for being here.
Great, thanks. My name is Dan Phillips, along with John here, and thank you, supervisors, for letting us introduce Startup Humboldt. And a bit why we think it's so important for the area.
I'm sorry, but you have to speak in the microphone so
Okay.
people listening can hear. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, is there a presentation?
There is. There's also a
And I
remote
get
on
my-
the counter.
Great, thank you. I have to say, I think we're doing some really cool stuff, but I've been listening to all the stories and inspired and motivated and from just what I've heard this morning with some of the initiatives and stuff. So I didn't have this view of all of you that you get to see some of that activity and some of the great work. That young boy, I thought I had a great career in athletics. Jeez, really impressive. Just to introduce myself, and as Supervisor Bohn already mentioned, I'm a Humboldt boy, raised in Bridgeville, moved into the big city of Fortuna to attend high school and on to CR. After that, my path to getting my education and getting the 2 degrees at, Cal Poly Humboldt State at the time, wasn't a straight one. But I did finish. I made it through, worked full-time in a lumber mill as part of that, while also leading a NASA Ames research project, just to give you some background. And out of that, I started a software company with one of my professors, Dr. Blaisdell. It's called Metasystems. Ultimately, took that down into the Silicon Valley after several years, started a tech career that included being the chief technology officer for Hulu, as well as the chief operating officer for TiVo. And so I've been really fortunate to have, had a great career, and it really comes back to Humboldt and what it all gave me. And as part of that, really wanted to lean in and give back. I chaired the Boldly Rising campaign for the university. We raised $59+ million. I co-chair CR's President Council as well, and co-founded with this gentleman, Lost Coast Ventures. So I'm gonna let John introduce himself real quick, and then we'll get into it.
Thanks, Dan. It's always difficult to follow Dan's introduction, especially up here, and I don't think anybody could. I met Dan 4 years ago, and I'll talk about that interchange in just a minute. But quickly, I'm a Humboldt grad. I graduated in 1980. I met my wife 2 hours after I got to campus when I was 18 years old. So Humboldt has a special place in my heart. It provided me a great education, and in the end, it provided me my family as well. Like Dan, I worked 35 years in tech down in Silicon Valley. I worked as a chief financial officer in a public company, eventually took over that company and became the CEO, and sold it to a Fortune 500 company 3 years later. I stayed with that Fortune 500 company for 21 more years and ran 8 or 9 different global businesses in a number of different verticals, all the while thinking about my experiences at Humboldt and using them every day. As Dan took control of the Boldly Rising campaign, he looked for a campaign cabinet, and a couple people said, you should talk to me, and we got together, and it turns out that Dan and I lived in the same town for 23 years, 5 miles apart, and never met down in the valley. And that would be unusual to do up here, right? That's one of the reasons we're up here, not down there, trying to make a difference. But anyway, we got together and talked about what we could do beyond just giving money up here. And we could donate our time and begin to leverage our expertise and experience through a nonprofit that we formed called Lost Coast Ventures. Lost Coast Ventures is a 501c3 public benefit corporation. We do a couple things. We provide deep mentoring and engagement with entrepreneurs, people that want to start scalable businesses that intend to stay here and make a difference to the economic community. We're all about economic development. We have a target of contributing and generating 250 new good-paying jobs here in Humboldt County over the next 10 years. We don't know how many companies that's going to mean, but it's going to take a few to do that. And we're engaged for the long term to get that done. This whole thing is modeled after something my dad did at Dartmouth College, same kind of concept. And they were losing faculty members during the dot-com era, and they started something with just a small amount of money. The investments that they made returned $20 million to the institution over 20 years. So everything that we invest in businesses, Dan and I get nothing out of it. All the benefit goes back to CR or Humboldt. So there's nothing in this financially for me or Dan. I'm going to turn this over to Dan. He's going to talk about Startup Humboldt.
So as part of that, and trying to advance the area, I want to introduce you to Startup Humboldt. And it's a shared vision, and now it's a shared space in Arcata to foster business innovation that we believe is critical in having a healthy, vibrant local economy. Having a strong collaborative support ecosystem is essential for new businesses to incubate and to grow and ultimately create jobs and deliver economic diversity. A few years ago, several of us started to collaborate and connect with others that we all wanted to make a difference. And we set ambitious goals for ourselves, for the area and for the North Coast. People with passion for young people, for education, a love of the area and its people. And we knew we needed to find a way to connect entrepreneurs, inventors, businesses, community leaders, educators, and others, as well as connect to resources such as financing, government institutions, of course, the university and the junior college, College of the Redwoods. So in modeling this, we started to look at what are other areas and locations doing. And, we looked at several, and one such organization we looked at very closely, traveled down to visit. It's called the Hot House in San Luis Obispo, and what they had done. And they've been at it for 10 years. And boy, was it inspiring, and we learned so much as part of that. And seeing the great success that they're having in creating businesses coming out actually each year. So we learned what we wanted to take from them and also what needed to be different for us to fit our needs and unique on the North Coast. All this culminated in Startup Humboldt. With the local and regional SBDC, with Cal Poly Humboldt, CR, and of course Lost Coast Ventures, we all worked closely to bring this forward. And we worked as well on some initiatives with tribes like Blue Lake Rancheria and many others. So ultimately this created our space, and we started it in Arcata. I want to invite all of you, when you get a chance, come down and see us. It really is pretty cool. So last year we acquired this space in the old Internews building. We worked with the owners, Danco, to remodel it, brighten it up, open it up, and it's really become a place of teaming energy, innovation, and we've got activities going on each week. We had a launch last April that was pretty cool. The SBDC pulled all of their pieces of the organization. They were spread across several locations. They've located their CR, ourselves and stuff, all now have a presence in the space. And these are the partners that we have today. Again, high energy. For instance, even tonight, we have an ideation session that's going on. It's part of this competition that we're pulling together. Then I'm going to hand it back over to John, just give you some insight into that, and then we'll take any questions.
Thanks, Dan. You want to go to the next slide? As Dan mentioned, we have a competition. We've done about 5 competitions over the last 4 years, largely campus-based competitions. This is for the broader community, and again, trying to make a bigger impact up here on the economic development front. We're going to raise $200,000 of funding. This is not prize money, but it's money that will be awarded to the winners of the competition. They'll be incubated in the facility for a 120-day period, and the funding will be metered to them based on what their specific need is or obstacle that they're trying to address to commercialize their venture. Dan and I spend a lot of time up here. We live in the Bay Area, but actually we live on Highway 101, I think. We're up here a couple of times a month, both of us. We've been here for a week. We will be up here quite a bit in the spring. By the time we get to the competition, we will know the competitors, the issues, the problems, and the challenges that they've got. And I'm quite optimistic. Dan and I have identified 3 or 4 businesses that could be transformational up here already. They will be in the competition. And so this will be a level above something we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. Some of you may be familiar with Economic Fuel that was done back 10 or 15 years ago. Rob Barkley was involved. This is similar, but When we talked to Mr. Arkley 2 years ago, he said, you know, you guys are going to be successful because you're going to be persistent. We're not going to give anybody money unless they can meet these milestones and make progress. So anyway, we appreciate your support and look forward to you getting involved in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, thank you. I'll bring it back to the board. Supervisor Bohn.
Well, I've been able to tie into a couple meetings over there, and it is a beautiful space. You guys have done a masterful job with that. And, I mean, it goes a little bit farther. I mean, Dan started 2018-19 offering scholarships to every Eel River graduate if they went to CR or Humboldt, if they kept a certain point of grade average. No ifs, ands, or buts, every one of them. And I think it was $2,000 a year for HSU and $1,000 for College of the Redwoods.
Yeah, it's, I'd set up a $1 million scholarship fund. And if they go to CR, they can bank $1,000 each year. And so it can turn into either $1,000 each year or $2,000 across the combination.
And that was when I first realized his commitment and his sports days and everything. That's who he still runs around with, is all those old sport guys from Fortuna. But, you know, and did you wrestle John in high school, or were you guys the same? No? Okay.
He was coaching at Eureka while I was, so he's older than me.
I know he is. You needed that. Anyway, I think your commitment to Humboldt County is admired by us all. And this is like what Rob had started. And I think what he's saying is you guys have the commitment to follow through. He put it out on paper, but he had so many other things going. You guys, this is your thing. And I think the mentorship you're going to be able to give and whatever support we can give through our economic development department or anything else, I think we'd love to help with it. But that's just 20% speaking.
Supervisor Arroyo.
Thank you so much. Will from the SBDC came and spoke about this effort to the Redwood Region Economic Development Commission, which was really cool, and it was great to hear. And one of the questions I had for him, which he said he'd need to get back to me on, and I think you all are actually the better recipients for this question, was about whether when folks are doing, because I know that there'll be a series of opportunities for people to pitch their business idea and get some feedback and make that an iterative process where they're refining it. But for those that obviously there's a limited pot of funds per round. For those that are looking for an investor and are not a fit for this program, is there the opportunity for them to also make their pitch to a broader audience of potential investors at the same time? To be heard by a broader audience, perhaps via teleconference or some other way for that to happen?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think it would be our intent to provide that opportunity for other investors to jump in, separate from the competition. You can obviously understand why we would want to control the funds for the competition. Those will be donated funds under the pretense that they'll be metered out against these milestones. We have a number of contacts that are interested in supporting entities up here at Humboldt. The biggest problem is they haven't seen them. Right? They're not seeing those kind of enterprises come. Dan and I are beginning to see those. And just as a metric, when we had the first kickoff meeting for Startup Humboldt, the competition, on September 16th, we had 150 people show up in that building. And we ran out of food. They were hungry for answers to questions. We've got our second session tonight. There's 3 more sessions this fall. And applications open up for the competition on December 2nd. So I hear you, and we'll find a way to include others who might have an interest in investing.
And I'll say that Startup Humboldt, the SBDC, ourselves at Las Coast Ventures, separate even from the competition, are working, mentoring, spending time, whether they enter the competition or not. And the SBDC does a fabulous job of guiding and helping whatever size business. With Las Coast Ventures, we do the same thing. We're looking for business that can scale, bring jobs to the area on that. But the whole point is to leverage and connect them to potential investments or resources.
One last thing that I'd like to say too is this county is filled with small enterprises, which is a good thing, and we want to continue to encourage that. The competition has 2 tracks. There's a micro venture track. And then there's the larger track, which is looking for that $1 million idea that could turn into a $10 million business in future years. So 2 different versions of the competition.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciated the idea that there are, the micro business opportunities to grow, what for that business, often a sole proprietorship with one or 2 employees could, it'd be exponential for them, right, to get to,
absolutely.
5 or 10. But so I appreciate the idea that there's, that level too, because that's what's attainable for, some of our communities. So thank you for that.
Sure.
Supervisor Madrone.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you guys for your investment, your time, and your vision. I really appreciate learning more about this. I'm curious if this competition is open to, say, Humboldt County, not as a business, but sometimes opening up support for a business or multiple businesses comes from, let's say you said you live on Highway 101, comes from pulling visitors off that highway into our communities, who then support all of these various businesses. So I would love to come pitch you guys an idea about the Vista Point facility up in by the airport and what's going on with the county, with the airport business park, and our town center ordinance that we're about ready to consider approving here in a few weeks here at this board. So could I get a card from you and maybe make contact and then see if I might be able to pitch the idea we have there, which is basically to create a facility that would pull people off the highway at that $1 million view up there at the Vista Point overlooking the ocean. First place you see the ocean since you cross the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's an economic engine that hasn't been tapped. So I'd love to sit down with you and talk with you more about those details.
Supervisor Madrone, we'd love to do that, and we could do that separate from the competition.
That sounds great.
One thing I tell you about the competition, it is limited to, we will look at existing businesses as long as they have no more than $1 million of revenue, and limited at that.
Yeah, thank you.
Supervisor Wilson.
Thanks for coming in, you guys. I appreciate it. And I look forward to hopefully getting to one of these events that you have listed from the invitation from Samantha. Thank you so much for sending that out. And yeah, I mean, having this, this reinvestment in the community in which you guys have, roots in, appreciate it, really do. And I'm really just looking forward to this effort. It's going to be, I think it's going to be very, very positive, and you never know, you might end up back here again someday.
We might.
I echo all my colleagues' sentiments, and just am so thrilled that your thoughts come back to Humboldt and your the investment that you want to do for Humboldt to make Humboldt more prosperous. It's never been needed more. So thanks. We are going to go out. Do you have something? Yeah. Okay. Supervisor
I
Bohn.
really do want to thank you guys for being here today. I know. I want to thank Tracy, our clerk, because trying to get you two corralled at one time together is a lot harder than I thought. But I mean, what you guys have accomplished, and then the idea, what's reinvigorating, which inspires us all, I would think, is your need or want to come back and invest back in the community that gave you, I feel like, your start. You were a big part of that, but you still needed that catalyst, and that was, Humboldt State, College of the Redwoods, and then come back to do what you're doing. But the thing is, the level of your knowledge that you're going to be able to give to these young entrepreneurs is priceless, and I think it's cool, and I think you're almost as excited as the business people are, because it's going to be fun to grow something, and you have, like you said, you have no financial investment. You just have a personal investment in giving back to the community, and I do appreciate that so much.
I do want to invite you all and to come and see the space and come to one of the events that were there. You want to see the energy in young people or business entrepreneurs. It's really inspiring.
Thank you for that. So now we're going to go out to public comment, and we'll start with Zoom.
There is none, Chair.
Public comment in the room? Seeing none, close public comment. Bring it back for a motion.
I make a motion, we accept this presentation.
Second.
Okay. Thanks again so much.
you.
I'm going to leave the card right over here for you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John.
Okay,
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Kaylee. So we'll go to public comment on non-agenda items, and we'll go to the Zoom first.
There is none, Chair.
Any public comment on non-agenda items in the room? Seeing none, I'll close public comment on non-agenda items, and we will go on to, let me see. Our first public hearing comes to us from Planning and Building. All right. This is adoption of a coastal sign ordinance as modified and certified by the California Coastal Commission that amends Section 313-87.3 of the Humboldt County Code to provide a uniform set of standards for development. I'm going to go to Director Ford, and I'm going to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Bushnell, members of the Board of Supervisors, John Ford, Rand Mann, and Rodney Yandell, to present this sign ordinance that the board has seen before, the board has adopted before. Once it was adopted, it went to the Coastal Commission for certification. They made 3 very minor changes that Ms. Meehan will present to you. And then if the board accepts those changes and approves the sign ordinance, then it becomes effective. If you disagree with the changes, then we would go back to the Coastal Commission. So with that, okay, we're having technical difficulty here.
Are you needing to share screen?
The computer is not responding quickly.
Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come right back.
Thank you.
I was going to ask for it anyway, but opportunity to.
From our break, are you ready? Okay.
We share screen, and what we thought we'd do is just put your mic on. Thank you. What we thought we'd do is just walk through the changes. They're pretty simple, and they're highlighted here on the screen. So
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. So the first change by the coastal sign ordinance was approved by the board on April 9th, 2024, and the Coastal Commission certified it with modifications on July 11th, 2025. So anything highlighted is what the Coastal Commission has changed since the board approval draft or version. So the first proposed change by the Coastal Commission is they strike through the re-erection of a destroyed advertising display and changed it to state that instead of where destroyed is defined, to meet the requirements in section 87.3.3.8.3.2, which would come up to down here. Which would meet the definition of 30610G2A of the Coastal Act, instead of it being damaged by natural forces and accidental incidents. The Coastal Commission just wanted to have something consistent with the Coastal Act instead of having damage just as a defined as natural forces or accidental incidents. Going on to their second proposed change, they removed reference to the Outdoor Advertising Act and defined customary maintenance. And they do reference the state outdoor advertising permit in that section. So this is a new definition that was written by the Coastal Commission. they added placement of a destroyed advertising display. And then going back to changed damage to destroyed by a disaster. Added shall conform to applicable existing zoning requirements and in addition shall not. And then we did propose this change with the Coastal Commission to remove streamside management areas to change it to riparian corridors. This is because streamside management areas is only in inland. So riparian corridors does encompass the same sensitive habitat, however, it is more applicable to the coastal section rather than streamside management, which would only be found in the inland version of the code. They did add protection of public views. And the final addition they added to this version is signs blocking public access. Signs that interfere with public access, inconsistent with the public access policies of the Coastal Act or the county's certified local coastal program. And that would conclude the deletions and additions made by the Coastal Commission on July 11, 2025.
We'd be happy to take any questions. As you can see, the changes overall are fairly minor.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, you mentioned they removed the outdoor advertising, which is, isn't that the Bible, the outdoor advertising, or?
The language in the Outdoor Advertising Act is slightly different than the language in the Coastal Act.
Yes.
And so what the Coastal Commission wanted to do was have the language of the Coastal Act prevail. And so that's the reason for that change.
So has that been challenged by the outdoor advertising people, or?
I don't think so. I think the result will be net the same. Ironically, the Outdoor Advertising Act, and I don't know that this has ever been tested, regulates local government, not necessarily state government.
Okay, I just, and I understand where this is all coming from and everything else, and it's not that I love billboards, it's just I can't find any of the businesses that advertise on them saying it's the worst thing I've ever done, because some of these billboards have been held by the same companies for 10, 20 years, they've been there 50 years, and we talked earlier about, it'd be nice when our society could pay for all health care, or, child care and all those things, but it takes private enterprise, private entrepreneurial money to do all that. It's not all going to come from the government. So we keep striking out at small businesses and local businesses everywhere we can, and it just gets to be pretty trying on the business community. I've heard from enough of them on this one. I mean, I'm going to vote for it because there's no sense in not voting for it, but I like to look 15, 20 years down the road. I mean, I think that the trail's a wonderful thing, but it's being used for so many other things than just trails, as we've noticed lately. So anyway, thank you.
Supervisor Wilson.
Just a clarification on something that was brought up, which is the removal of the reference to the ODA. I mean, in some ways, there's not really a need for a reference to the ODA anywhere in the ordinance at all, I think, because, well, one of the reasons you probably wouldn't do it is because the ODA can change, and if the ODA changes, then when we're referencing it in the ordinance, saying like to defer to it means that our ordinance then can change a little bit. So from my perspective, I think it's a good cleanup in general. I mean, some of these suggestions from the commission through this process could be applied to the upland eventually, I suppose, right? And what would be that process if we're like, oh, these are some reasonable changes, why wouldn't we just apply those to the upland? And how would we do that if that's what we wanted to
It'd
do?
be for the board to direct staff to go back and make the changes consistent in the inland area that were made in the coastal zone.
And in some ways, making things consistent isn't such a bad thing, right? Doesn't it make it a little easier?
It's not a bad thing. The struggle that we would have, and I'm not saying that it can't be done. I have not evaluated this point. So just thinking out loud a little bit, is that the language that was used in this is fairly Coastal Act specific.
Yeah.
What we did try to do in the inland and in the coastal zone is make sure that we were being consistent with ODA, so we didn't get outside of that. And so those language references that were changed went away from the ODA to Coastal Act language, which may or may not be relevant in an inland environment.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, there are sections of the ODA that do give deference to the local jurisdictions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's at least 3 or 4 sections that are pretty specific about that, which again kind of makes me think, well, why even reference the ODA at all? But it seems minor at this moment. I just want to make sure that we don't get blowback sometime in the future when we're trying to implement some part of our code and someone says, well, it says here you need to reference the ODA. And I'm like, and the ODA's may be changed and we haven't accounted for that. You see what my concern is for that?
I absolutely see your concern, yes.
Yeah. If we were to give direction today to remove the reference to the ODA from well, I just want to know kind of from a workload perspective, would you have to go through the planning commission and
Yes.
everybody else? Never mind. That's too much. You guys are overloaded. I'm not going to worry about it for now. We'll get it on the next round. Whenever it's time to move this, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, are there any more questions? Supervisor Arroyo?
I mean, this does bring up an interesting question about whether an act a state act related to outdoor advertising or a state act related to the Coastal Act. Is there any preeminence between the two? Is there any language that helps us understand, which takes precedence? They're both implemented by state agencies and both passed by voters, right?
Yeah, absolutely not being flippant here.
Right.
But I think from the coastal standpoint, the Coastal Act would prevail.
Right.
I think from probably a sign holder standpoint, the ODA would prevail. And we're already having some of those discussions on a sign that the board allowed to be reconstructed not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much in the eye of the prospective holder.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Madrone?
Well, in regards to public access issues, I would note that the Bay Trail, South Bay Trail that was just completed, veered around an existing sign in order to allow that sign to continue to exist. And it veered up onto the railroad right-of-way. It's the only place on the entire right-of-way from Arcadia to Eureka where the trail actually veers up onto the railroad berm and on the right-of-way there. So I thought that was a great compromise. It was available. Why not veer around it? It works for now. I don't think the train's coming back anytime soon. So it's just an example of where, by by coastal ordinance, if this was in place at that time, the sign would have had to go and get out of the way of the access, right? But I like what they did. They worked with it, and that was a good compromise. I thought that maintained the sign, but also allowed for the trail. Just a point of notice.
Any other comments? Supervisor Wilson?
I just want to emphasize that I think the ODA was not a citizen initiative, but unlike the Coastal Act, which makes it there are two different things. But the ODA was a requirement from the federal government as part of the Federal Highways Act. The Federal Highways Act was in response to specifically billboards across the United States, the proliferation, and then there was a response to that, and it was to specifically move billboards away from natural areas into commercial areas, if there were to be at all. Many states and even counties within this state have complete bans on and don't have billboards per se, in the way that we might think of it. But then the ODA itself was put into existence for this same purpose, which was to remove and move billboards from natural areas and agricultural areas and open space. So I just want to say that it's not just to regulate them in their existing construct, it's actually to eventually see their removal from those view sheds and those natural areas and those impacts. So we do have to, that's where this came from, and I think it's part of what we're doing is within the confines of those, or within the direction of those acts as they were created. So thank you.
Supervisor Arroyo.
Thank you. I just have one more comment about this entire topic. I think I forget, whether I've said this before, but there's 4 states, Alaska, Hawaii, Maine, and Vermont, all known for their scenic beauty, that have outright bans entirely, and small businesses and large businesses presumably still flourish there. So I don't know that we can, for today's consumer, necessarily say that billboards are the defining factor for their success. But I appreciate that the Coastal Commission gave feedback about this, and I'm ready to proceed today with incorporating it.
I'm going to go out to public comment, but probably true to my nature, I wasn't supportive of this ordinance in the past. I probably am not going to be today. It's not a reflection on staff. It's a reflection on my district and the difficulties that we're already having with the sign ordinance in my district. And so with that, I'm going to go out to public comment on the Zoom, please.
There is none.
Public comment in the room on the sign ordinance. Seeing none, I will close public comment and bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll move approval and recommendations from the staff.
I'll second.
Uh-oh. Kaylee, can we do a roll call, please?
Supervisor Wilson?
Yes.
Supervisor Arroyo?
Yes.
Chair Bushnell?
No.
Supervisor Madrone?
Yes.
Supervisor Bohn?
No.
Motion carries 3-2.
Thank you. Thank you to staff. And we're going to go on to departmental reports. And this next item is going, you want to sit, Trace?
Okay.
Is going to come to us from Tracy D'Amico, our clerk of the board. And I will let her introduce it.
Hi, good morning, board. So I have 2 items before you today. This first one is the introduction of the ordinance amending Chapter 4 of Division 2 of Title 2 of the Humboldt County Code relating to the Fish and Game Advisory Commission. So in August of this year, I presented an item before your board regarding some recommendations to modifications to this board and commission. And at that point, your board decided to change the commission makeup to 10 members, each district supervisor reporting 2. So this is the ordinance change coming back. I do want to note that there needs to be a modification to the actual ordinance attachment, the draft. In the first line, it says the commission shall consist of 15 members, so that will be struck out and be changed to 10 members. This is the introduction, so the pre-adoption will go out, and then we will make this change for the post-adoption to be voted on and solidified on the 21st.
Okay, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll go out to public comment. We'll go to the Zoom first.
There is none, Chair.
Any public comment in the room on the Fish and Game Advisory Committee changes? Seeing none, I will close public comment and bring it back to the board for a motion, please.
Yep, I'll move these changes, and thank you, Tracy, for shepherding them through. Very appreciated.
Of course.
Second, and also thank you to Tracy. She attended quite a few meetings and listened to the commission about what their wants and wishes were, and also to our board. And so thank you for getting all that together. And we're going to have to do roll call from now until the end of the meeting, please. Mike's computer is not working.
Supervisor Arroyo?
Yes.
Supervisor Madrone,
Yes.
Supervisor Wilson,
Yes.
Supervisor Bohn, Chair Bushnell.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. And our next item is also coming to us from Clerk of the Board, Tracy D'Amico.
So the next item is an appointment to the Humboldt County Redevelopment Oversight Board. This is a board that consists of members appointed by the public, city select, including the tax treasurer, auditor, controller, and typically one board member is also appointed. The appointment is not included on our annual appointment list, and that is an error that we have agreed to work on with the AC's office. So now it will be an annual appointment on our list that comes in December. But we would like to appoint someone now. They're trying to reconvene a roster that is current. So the last appointment was in 2023, and at that time Supervisor Bohn was appointed. And then we would just like to appoint someone now for the remainder of this calendar year, and if it is agreed with the board, for the 2026 as well. They typically meet only once a year or as needed, and that is managed and ran by Michael Evenson.
Any questions from the board? Seeing none, I'll go out to public comment on the Zoom first.
There is none, Chair.
Public comment in the room. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Bring it back to the board for a motion, please. Supervisor Arroyo.
Well, seeing that Supervisor Bohn has served on this before, do you have interest in doing it again?
We've met and we meet. I don't think we've met for about 6-8 months now or whatever, but I mean, it has wound down quite a bit. They're pretty short meetings, pretty easy. I can, it just means you have to be here. And so they don't Zoom it. They don't, they hadn't Zoomed it, so.
Yes, you want to do this?
Sure. But you guys are more than welcome to throw me off if you want to.
You're welcome to do it as far as I'm concerned. I'll move approval of Supervisor Bohn as the appointee.
Second.
Okay.
Supervisor Madrone,
Yes.
Supervisor Wilson,
Yes.
Chair Bushnell.
Yes.
Supervisor Arroyo,
Yes.
Supervisor Bohn.
Sure.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're going to go on to our last item today before closed session. I want to note that we have a time set for, this is what we thought was going to happen. We have time set closed session for 1 o'clock, and so after this item, we will be taking a lunch break from whatever time that is until 1 p.m., and I will need 3 members of the board back on the dais at 1 p.m. to read in closed session. And so this item is going to be brought to us by Supervisor Wilson, and I'll let him introduce.
Thanks, Yvonne. I need to bring it up here for a second. All right, so. All right, here we go. Just gonna bring it up here. Give me 1 second. Didn't realize we were moving so fast. Appreciate it though. Considering. Well, anyway, so this is a item by which I'm asking the board to consider a resolution that reiterates once again our opposition to offshore oil and deep sea mining. It's in response to recent events and specifically around the current federal administration. And if you remember back in January, former President Biden basically had did an executive order banning all offshore oil exploration and development off our coasts, at least in these areas where in California and specifically on the West Coast, and then also in parts of the East Coast as well. But that was overturned by a judge recently. The current administration has said that they are planning to do announcements for offshore oil leases as soon as October 15th. And so, just like in the past, this county has opposed it. We haven't changed our position on that necessarily, but there is a new coalition forming of local governments in California. Currently, it'll probably expand up the coast, starting with counties and cities. And so this is a request by this board to approve a resolution standing in opposition again for offshore oil, and also being part of that coalition to both receive information and then also provide positions on this to the governor's office as they deal with this as well. So that's really the gist of what we have in front of us today. If there's any questions about that, I feel like there's not the resolution's in here. If you need me to read it, I can read it, but I think it speaks for itself. So that's what I'm asking for. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
There's one item in there that is appointment, or I guess of one of our board members to interface with that coalition. I'm happy to do so, but if someone else wants to do it, I'm happy to consider that as well. So those are.
Supervisor Bohn.
So, and I know we're always open to something happening, but there hasn't been anything done in over 50 years off the coast, right? Any oil wells drilled off the coast of California in 50 years was the last one, I think.
I don't know when the last one was done, but they certainly have active oil derricks in Southern California.
They do have active facilities that are operating now.
Causing problems.
Off of Santa Barbara and stuff. And with that, this is fine. I don't know. This has nothing to do with wind, so and I don't know if that gets into mining when they fasten those down to the ocean floor, if that's considered mining or if that's just allowable. So I was just wondering what the clarification was on mining.
Mining is an extractive process. I mean, I think seafloor mining, generally the technology is these very large, I guess you call them vacuums, currently that they're talking about using, that where they find deposits and they vacuum them up from the floor, but there is a lot of concern in relation to the ecosystem issues around that, and specifically around the large plumes that would be created. There's not much good information currently about the technology, so this is why people are taking a fairly precautionary approach to that. It's also considered much more widespread. A footing for, say, an offshore wind is a fairly stationary and inert object. It doesn't take up a lot of space in a relative sense. That massive and sort of area-wide mining would occur. So I think they're pretty different technologies. I'm hoping that helps. And then
I know it sounded like a pretty big goal, but anyway, yeah, that's fine. They're just oversized gold dredges, is what they are. Yeah, I just was wondering. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, and we also have problems with gold dredging as well these days, and the issues that it causes. So, with that, if we could go to public comment, or
Sure.
there's more questions.
I think that I'll first ask the board if there's any other comments. I am not comfortable today. I wanted to do some more investigations into this. I'm wondering who, like the information on the ordinance, where'd you get that? Like, did you make, like, where did all that come from?
Well, it's not an ordinance, it's a
resolution, I'm sorry.
It's a resolution. It's kind of an amalgamation of our past now you got me saying it, our past resolutions, as well as some taken from the County of Santa Cruz, which is already adopted this and moving forward. So it sort of comes from a mishmash of those sources put together, and so and it's mostly based on, at least in its inception, from our past resolutions.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just had one suggestion that I apologize for not bringing to you beforehand. But on page 1, near the bottom of the resolution, talks about the marine sanctuaries, which are important, and I think it is likely because this included because other communities in California have brought this forward, that it names marine sanctuaries that aren't close to us. While they're very important, I just wondered if we might also add marine protected areas in our region. I know it says in others along the coast, but if the North Coast marine protected areas could be named as well in there.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about that?
I think those are great thoughts, and I think that we can make that adjustment in the post,
final.
I guess you'd say, in the final. That's all right. If it's okay with the board, we can give the authority to staff to make that change.
Yeah, I would just recommend like North Coast Region marine protected areas, because there are, I don't know, 20 of them.
Yep.
So we wouldn't want to name them all, but indicating that there's a special focus on our region.
The other option we could do is just remove all of the named in there and just have it say California Marine Sanctuaries to protect unique ecosystems, but we just do it that way. Make it simple. Would be the other direction to take.
Not to be persnickety, but I think that the marine sanctuaries and marine protected areas are different. So maybe we could say California's marine protected areas and marine sanctuaries.
Let's do that.
And then bada bing, bada boom.
Done.
Great. Okay.
That's not a motion, so we'll get that for you.
The bada bing, bada boom is.
I see you struggling there. So are there any other comments or thoughts? No? Okay, we'll go to public comment. And we'll go to public comment on the Zoom.
Thank you, Chair. Caller 1676, I will unmute you and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, this is Nancy Ihara, and I just wanted to say I support this resolution. Humboldt County is a commercial fishing community, and because of the potential harm offshore drilling and mining poses to our fishing community, including catastrophic oil spills, routine toxic pollution, and disruption of marine ecosystems, support for this resolution to me is the only rational and logical decision to make. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all, Chair.
Public comment in the room. Hi, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Phyllis Cloy, and I'm also here in support of opposing this offshore drilling because it stirs up the ocean floor and it devastates the the fishermen that fish for the bottom fish. I was in Sacramento last year for a period of time, and during that period there was a news special that lasted about a half hour, and they interviewed fishermen on the East Coast, and they were saying how much it had devastated the bottom fishing industry, and it practically destroyed it. So I'm also opposed to doing anything that affects the ocean floor. It constantly stirs up everything that's down there, and it devastates that that portion of the fishing industry, and they're already struggling enough as it is. Thank you.
So would you say that you're in support of this letter then?
No, I'm in support of opposing it. So, okay, I'd like to oppose this. Agree with Supervisor Wilson when he opposes this ordinance.
You're in support of the resolution?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment and come back to the board.
I guess you take a shot at it if you want. Because you have the edit, so go for it.
I will move approval of the resolution with the edit of modifying the language on the first page, under the second to last whereas on that page, to just say California's marine protected areas and marine sanctuaries, and then exclude the portion with the hyphens that names specific ones, just saying marine sanctuaries and marine protected areas, and the rest as is, and nominate Supervisor Wilson to serve on this, Local Government Outer Continental Shelf Coordination Program and Coalition. And authorize the CAO to engage in advocacy reflecting our opposition to new offshore oil and gas drilling and deep seabed mining.
Second.
I have a question around what does the authorization look like, and what is the means that would happen with that? Like, what would your advocacy be?
I mean, it would be in line with the letter of support, so, or the letter of opposition. So if any legislation comes up that relates to this, then we would follow the same opposition stance that your board may take today. And just aside for Kaylee on that motion, since it was incredibly long for the modifications to the letter, I would just know as modified as discussed, and then we'll capture that.
Okay, thank you.
So in my view, the motion involved in the advocacy position is like adding something to our legislative platform in essence. Like it would allow us to have our lobbyists take that position and write letters without them coming to the board, as long as they're aligned with this.
Supervisor Bohn?
So, and I wanted to ask, is there any conflict between your position on the Coastal Commission and serving on this, considering they're both going to run into each other? Do you see, or?
Well, it's called an incompatible office issue in their state legislation that makes this seat or county seats and city seats exempt from the incompatible office legislation at the state. So as far as I know, there shouldn't be any conflict. And maybe I'll turn to our counsel if he.
That's kind of who I was asking, but I probably didn't word it that way.
I believe that there can be representation on both without conflict. However, if circumstances arise in which there is a conflict, then you could always recuse at that time or step down from the seat being considered today.
And it would be an incompatibility, right, rather than a conflict.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
All right, and I don't know, the basis I can see, but I just don't know if the threat's there to be doing this. I mean, I see the same thing of what you're trying to do, and then I see with all the work that is still going to take place, or we're pushing to take place out in the ocean, that could cause, comparable damage, not as much, mind you. And I read once somewhere that more oil comes up through cracks in the bottom of the ocean floor than the Valdez spilled. So that's always an amazing, if I don't know fact true, but it is, it's on the internet, so it must be true. Yeah, I just think we're pushing it a little too far, and I don't know if the advocacy is always going to be probably what everybody in Humboldt County would want. So I'm not sure where I'll go on this.
Can I ask around what kind of meetings is it, Mike, and when would they, I was trying to look, can you explain that a little bit more? I'm sorry, Supervisor Wilson.
That's all right. That's fine. That's fine.
My head's
We have all kinds of time because you've been blazing through this meeting. Good job. Right now, I don't know. It really depends. To Supervisor Bohn's point about, there's what's happening. There's nothing happening. It's coming. The for one, the call is going to be made likely in the next few months from the federal government for leasing and potentially for mining as well. There's been executive orders already from the Trump administration in support of that, and so the agencies, I guess they say, word on the street is the agencies have been working diligently to get those offerings up as soon as possible. It could be, like I said, in the next few weeks. And so by approving this position, we basically can authorize staff to just move forward with taking a position when those come up, and also offering that to our state agencies as well. In terms of the time, I don't know how much this coalition will meet in the current context. I can't imagine it would meet more than once a month. And the other kind of good thing about it is that it's not a government coalition in the terms of it's not a JPA or anything like that. So there's no requirement that anyone be there. You know, they can be on Zoom is what I'm trying to get at. It's not doesn't necessarily require a lot of travel. So I hope that helps a little bit with your question.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
So these won't be required public meetings then? They won't have to be public meetings? These can be closed meetings? There'll be no minutes? There'll be no minutes or anything?
I have no idea at this moment in time.
Well, you've talked to Santa Cruz about how they're doing the meetings now.
There have been no meetings so far. This is just the proclamation of getting people to the table to say, like, yes, we're in terms of coming together and strategizing as as local governments. There are many coalitions and nonprofits and those sorts of things that we sit on as representatives that don't necessarily have public meetings per se. So CSAC would be one, RCRC would be another. So I don't see this. This is actually probably even less formal than those at the current moment because, frankly, they're just looking for members. This is a vote to become a member and then kind of go from there. If there was something objectionable in the future with this, any one of us can bring that back to the board and we can figure it out later.
I also think that if there's something that comes up, because currently you just said there isn't something on the horizon, that this could come back later as well if things come on the horizon. I hear what you anticipate that from the federal government that there'll be something coming this way, but that's not certain. And I am probably going to abstain from this. I just don't feel like I have enough information and enough. Appointing you to something that's not even formed yet is weird to me, and I think that I don't know. I'm not feeling great about the whole thing just because I don't have the information. I'm very supportive of the fisheries. Obviously, I don't want oil spills in the ocean, but and you're heavy sighing, I'm sorry, but it's how I feel. So I'm just not sure either.
And in response to that, I just want to say, in order to form an organization, you have to have some people coming together to do it. So it's one of those things. Either you wait for other people to do it or you do it yourself. I'll just be, I suppose, assuming we move forward with this on the upfront, the doer side of this. So thanks.
Has the Coastal Commission taken a stance on this?
No, there's been no position taken. Well, I mean, certainly the commission, like this organization, like Humboldt County, has taken past positions in opposition to offshore oil drilling. Yes, that has happened. It's been a while. There hasn't been a response to what's coming now. The question is really in the moment is the response time could be quite quick. That's the other part about this. Like we don't know what the turnaround time is for comments in this first round. And our schedule is what it is. So, but the commission, no, has not taken a formal position on this issue, at least on my time there. But I'm certain that they have taken positions on this in the past.
Has there been any discussion or any kind of item that has been discussed by the Coastal Commission? Given, you bringing this, it obviously is being stirred up by administration, and I'm just curious, have you heard any thoughts that are maybe coming from Coastal Commission?
No, it's not specifically to federal policy at the moment. The commission, through the Coastal Act, administers or is, I suppose, part of the administration of the CZMA, the Coastal Zone Management Act, and sort of sets the guidelines for the state in response to federal projects, and of which this would be one. So I would expect that we would probably bring something to that commission in relation to the consistency with CZMA. So we have that'll wait until it comes on the docket. Excuse me. I will say one of the more controversial issues we've dealt with lately is the permits or lack of permits thereof in relation to the landside issues around offshore oil drilling in Southern California, specifically in the Santa Barbara area. And anyone can read about those issues in the news down there. It doesn't make it much up here, but there are still a lot of issues around that, and the community down there is quite fired up around the oil spills that have had experienced, and that they would like to not have experienced again, including sort of the long-term ramifications. It's not just the spills. When they happen, they still have issues around the long-term impacts of that, but as well as the landside development in terms of like the movement of oil along the coast, which has had its share of spills and problems as well.
Yeah, I just did a little quick search, and it says that you guys Coastal Commission opposed in 2018, vowed to fight the Trump administration plan to open federal waters to new offshore oil and gas leasing.
Thank you. I was appointed in 2019, so
Okay.
I was not there.
Yeah. So, okay, thanks. Any other questions?
Supervisor Arroyo?
Yes.
Supervisor Bohn?
No.
Supervisor Madrone?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilson?
Yes.
Chair Bushnell?
An abstain, I can do that, correct? Okay, I'm abstaining. I just don't have enough information. I would like to do more research if this board wants to bring this back. I mean, it's got 3 votes to pass, but I just would like to do more research.
Motion carries 3-1-1.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we are done with our main agenda, and we have closed session set for 1 p.m. There is a little snafu to that. We had anticipated that we would read in closed session at 1 and then take a half an hour break from 1 to 1:30 for lunch, because we have our council that is coming at 1:30. And I know that Supervisor Wilson needs to leave. So I do need 3 people back here at 1 p.m. And then we will actually be going into closed session at 1:20. Mm-hmm.
I believe that we can start closed session very close to 1, and then we may need to take a small break in between items during closed session.
Okay, so we're going to be in recess till 1 p.m. and we will be back here to read in closed session, and then we'll go immediately into closed session, and we anticipate that closed session will be
Approximately a half hour.
approximately a half an hour. So we'll see you back here at 1 p.m. Thank you. We're in recess. Okay, we're back out of closed session, and we're going to go to County Council for report out.
Thank you, Chair Bushnell. With regard to item G1, the board voted unanimously to approve the initiation of litigation in 2 cases. The specific actions, defendants, and other particulars shall, once formally commenced, be disclosed upon inquiry, unless doing so would jeopardize the county's ability to effectuate service of process on one or more unserved parties, or would jeopardize the county's ability to conclude existing settlement negotiations to its advantage as set forth in California Government Code Section 54957.1A2.
Okay.
And there was no reportable actions taken with regards to items G2 and G3.
Okay, thank you. We do not have a Board of Supervisors meeting next week. Our next Tuesday would be the 21st, and we're adjourned. Thank you.
meeting is the 20th, a special meeting.
Special meeting, I wasn't talking about that, but special meeting on the 20th, and the next Board of Supervisors meeting is on the 21st. We're adjourned.